I said, "It's late, so stay with me tonight." My ex's sister smiled, "Only tonight?" Rain hammered against the windshield as I pulled my car onto the empty roadside. The storm had swallowed the highway, and visibility had disappeared into a curtain of darkness. That was when I noticed a lone woman standing beneath a flickering streetlight, soaked to the bone and clutching a small travel bag. When she lifted her face toward my headlights, my heart nearly stopped. It was Emma, the younger sister of the woman who had broken my heart 5 years earlier. The last person I ever expected to see on a night like this. I rolled down the window, offered her a ride, and before the night was over, I found myself saying words I never imagined I would speak. "It was late, so stay with me tonight." She looked at me with a gentle smile that carried years of unspoken pain and quietly asked, "Only tonight?" Before we continue, if you believe kindness, forgiveness, and second chances can change lives, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope today, subscribe to the channel, and tell us in the comments where you're watching from. Your support keeps these stories alive. The question stayed in my mind long after we reached my small apartment. Emma had always been cheerful when we were younger, always trying to make peace whenever her older sister and I argued. But tonight she looked different. There was exhaustion in her eyes, courage hidden beneath sadness, and the quiet strength that only comes after surviving too many disappointments. She explained that she had left her job, ended a relationship that had slowly stolen her confidence, and decided to start over in another city. The storm had stranded her halfway through the journey. As she changed into one of my old sweaters while her clothes dried, memories filled every corner of the apartment. This was the same place where I had dreamed about building a future with her sister. Instead, that future had disappeared with a goodbye that never really made sense. For years I believed I had healed, but seeing Emma reopened every scar I had carefully hidden beneath work and routine. That evening became less about the past and more about two people carrying invisible burdens. We sat with warm coffee in our hands while thunder echoed outside. There was no bitterness in Emma's voice when she spoke about her family. She admitted that her sister had spent years regretting the choices she made but had been too ashamed to reach out. Life had humbled everyone in different ways. Listening to her, I realized how often we judge people by the worst chapter of their lives instead of allowing them the chance to write a better ending. Emma wasn't asking me to forgive anyone. She was simply telling the truth, and somehow the truth felt lighter than the anger I had carried for so long. Morning arrived with clear skies, but neither of us rushed to leave. Emma offered to help clean the apartment before continuing her trip. The ordinary moments became strangely meaningful. Cooking breakfast together, laughing over burnt toast, sharing stories we had never told anyone else, it all reminded me that genuine connection rarely arrives with fireworks. Sometimes it quietly enters through a rainstorm. Over the next few weeks, Emma stayed in the city longer than expected after finding temporary work nearby. We crossed paths often. Sometimes we met for lunch. Other times we simply walked through the park after work. There were no dramatic confessions or rushed emotions. Instead, trust grew one conversation at a time. Still, guilt followed me everywhere. Part of me wondered whether caring about Emma somehow betrayed the love I once had for her sister. Another part feared what people would think if they learned we were spending time together. Emma understood those fears without me speaking them aloud. She never pressured me, never demanded answers, and never tried to replace anyone from my past. One afternoon we visited a children's hospital where Emma volunteered to read stories to young patients. Watching frightened children smile because of her kindness changed something inside me. I realized that the person standing beside me wasn't connected to my past because of family ties alone. She had become someone I genuinely admired for who she was. Weeks turned into months. Slowly my apartment stopped feeling empty. Emma's laughter echoed through rooms that had once held only silence. She encouraged me to reopen my small woodworking business after I had nearly abandoned it. She believed in dreams I had forgotten belonged to me. Then came the unexpected phone call. Her sister had been hospitalized after a serious accident. Without hesitation, Emma asked if I would drive her home. The journey was uncomfortable, filled with memories I had spent years trying to escape. Standing outside the hospital room, I wasn't sure whether I belonged there. But when I finally walked inside, I saw not the woman who had broken my heart but someone carrying deep regret across her face. She apologized through tears, admitting that fear and immaturity had destroyed what could have been a beautiful future. She thanked me for taking care of Emma when she needed someone most. There was no attempt to win me back, no dramatic twist, only sincere remorse. As I left the room, I felt something I hadn't experienced in years. Peace. Forgiveness didn't erase the pain. It simply stopped the pain from controlling my future. Emma and I drove back in silence. Halfway home she reached over and gently held my hand. It wasn't a romantic gesture meant to create excitement. It was quiet reassurance that healing sometimes arrives through simple acts of understanding. Months later, my business was thriving again. Emma had found permanent work helping families through difficult times, using her own experiences to comfort others. Together we built a life based not on perfect circumstances but on honesty, patience, and mutual respect. One evening we returned to the same roadside where everything had begun. The streetlights still stood there, although the storm was long gone. Looking around, it seemed impossible that one rainy night could completely change two lives. I finally understood the meaning behind her question. Only tonight? She hadn't been asking for a place to sleep. She had been wondering whether anyone would ever choose her beyond a single difficult moment. I smiled and told her that some people arrive in our lives unexpectedly, not to replace the past but to remind us that hope still exists after heartbreak. That night wasn't the end of someone else's story. It became the beginning of ours. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, share it with someone who needs encouragement today, subscribe to the channel, and let us know your thoughts. Your support helps these messages of hope reach more people. Speech balloon special request: before the story ends, tell us in the comments, do you believe true love can begin after heartbreak, or is forgiveness the greatest love of all? Life rarely gives us perfect timing. Sometimes it gives us rainy nights, broken hearts, unexpected reunions, and impossible choices. Yet those very moments often become the foundation of our greatest blessings. I learned that love isn't about replacing someone from the past. It's about finding the courage to trust again, to forgive without forgetting, and to open your heart even when it has every reason to remain closed. In the end, the storm that seemed determined to leave us stranded became the very path that led us home. And that is how one simple invitation on a rainy night became the beginning of a lifetime built not on perfection, but on kindness, second chances, and the quiet miracle of choosing hope.